Okay, guys, welcome to Off the Record with LegALLY at Law. Today we have Marge as a guest. She is located in Florida, but she does some really cool work on the side, including having conversations and some community activism for death row inmates. So, my goal today is to talk to her about how she started, her goals, and what she anticipates for these defendants. As you all know, I do criminal defense. I'm very much for defendants' rights. And Marge is a good friend of mine. We met on TikTok. She has a very good TikTok. Marge, why don't you tell them what your TikTok is so we can have them follow you?
My TikTok is Marge C625.
So everyone should follow Marge on TikTok. And she also goes live with the death row inmates often, at least once a week, right, Marge?
Yes, every Friday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. And I am using Charge with Change on TikTok now. But I also have my Marge C in there so people can find me easier. We're trying to build the Charge with Change.
Awesome. So you should follow her. She's also a friend on my TikTok, so you can probably find her through mine as well. Okay, Marge, so why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, and then we can get into what you do, on Fridays.
So my name is Marge C, and I do TikTok lives. I started doing TikTok lives. I want to say it's almost 2 years now, and I started doing makeup lives, believe it or not, because I started on Facebook as a moderator for makeup artists.
Oh,
And
okay.
then they kept saying, "Why don't you go out on your own, do your own thing?" And they were sending me PR. So I went over to TikTok because they were over there. So I started doing makeup lives, and during that, we were talking about true crime. We just started doing true crime, and I started doing. Someone said, "Why don't you do prison calls?" And I'm like, "Are you serious? Like, do you want to do prison calls for real?" And we did. I was friends with someone who her husband was incarcerated, and we were doing prison calls together, but it got to be too much for her, and they didn't want me to stop. So she was also friends with Keith Erickson, who is incarcerated. And he said, "Marge, I can do this with you. I have inmates in here. I can connect you with them." So everyone wanted to continue. There's a big people like to hear stories. They like to hear what these men have been through. So I continued with the calls, and my platform just started growing and growing, and they like hearing it. And to be honest with you, the calls that I do, I'm not glorifying what they did, absolutely not, but they are changing. I mean, they made mistakes. They made mistakes. We were doing it under March C. And then one day it just hit me. I'm like, charged with change. They were charged with a crime. And now it's time for them to change. So I created Charged with Change. It just hit me one day. And, I'm not glorifying what they did, but they are changing. And everyone that I talk to, like, it's just they're growing. They go to college, they have jobs, and a lot of people have the wrong impression about these men and women. I be honest with you, I only talked to one lady. I only had one lady on my show. There hasn't been any more. They're usually the men of all ages. They actually had their crimes they committed was when they were from ages 16 to 18. Now they're in their 50s, 60s, and they're still in prison. They committed crimes, yes, but they've been growing with it. People I talk to, they think that they sit in prison behind. This is the impression. They sit in prison behind bars. That's all they do. They sit there on a cot, nothing else.
Do nothing. Yep.
They do nothing. Absolutely wrong. They are busier than you and I. They work. They go to college. They go to classes. Like they are busier than I am, and they're changing. I mean, some of the stories I hear are incredible. So I just continued it. Like I am booked with these calls until after the new year already. I added Thursday in here once in a while when I can do it. But when they heard they have TVs and they have tablets and they can message, people thought it's still you go to, a phone call in the room with on the wall. Like they were like, "Wait, they have tablets? They have televisions? They leave the cell?" I'm like, "Yeah, they do." Like people had the wrong impression until I started doing these calls, you know?
Marge, do you only get death row inmates, or do you have all types?
No. No, so when we invited you, it happened to be the night with the death row inmates.
Okay, okay,
Yeah,
all
it
right.
happened to be. Most of them aren't. So the death row inmates that I have are the two, which were Ramon and Carell.
Yep,
The rest of them aren't. The rest of them that I talk to, so on my app, and it's funny. So I have the Getting Out app. It's the GTL app.
yep.
I have 17 that I'm in contact with right now that I talk to. Um, so absolutely not. It's not just some of them are getting out, some of them are on parole, some of them aren't. They're still fighting, to see if they can get out. But not only death row. No.
And most of them, I would assume, have been in prison for a significant amount of time, not
Oh,
like a year or a
no.
few months. It's a long time, right?
25, 35 years, absolutely. Yep. And my co-host, as you know, is an inmate, Keith Erickson, who
Yes.
has written 3 books. He has one book coming out the end of the month. He has written books. Like, look what these men accomplish.
Yeah, so that's sort of what I mean. I know this because I'm in the profession, and obviously you deal with it every day. But this perception of inmates that are locked in a cell, I guess that's what the movies portray,
Right.
right? Like you're
Yeah.
locked in a cell and you're rattling the cage and you can't get out. Is sort of not what this is like. When I was on your show and talked to Keith and the other guys, they're writing books. The one, I think it's Keith. He has like a dog program.
Yeah, absolutely. They
Yeah.
are they are trained they train service dogs. So it's Wiley's Wishes,
Oh,
and
that's
her
it. Yeah.
name Wiley's Wishes, her name is Angel. She actually brings them dogs into the prisons, and it's several prisons. Right now the only ones I know of is Soledad, Pleasant Valley, and I think and Donovan State Prison. So they're the three I know of. I know she works with others, but she brings dogs in. They train the men how to train the dogs, and they do service dogs. Actually, quick story, here in Florida, there's a woman here who is blind. She can't get a service dog because they can be pricey. You have to pay twenty
Sure.
to $30,000 for a service dog. You also have to train with the service dog. Like 2 weeks, you have to go with the service dog and train. She's a single mom with two small children, and she has no one to help her, so she can't physically go um into the dorm and stay with the two children. They won't allow it, so she can't get a dog because and she's blind. She's legally blind with two small children, single parent. I one day on my show I mentioned it. I said, Keith, like I love what you're doing with these dogs. I have a friend she needs a dog, like, and we can't get her one. Well, guess what? I have a service dog coming from California, from Wiley's Wishes, that
Wow.
Keith trained, and that Angel is having the dog transported from California to Florida at
Just
no
happen.
cost, Allie, no cost. And they bought the harnesses, the special harness you need for the blind.
Yeah.
They paid for everything, and they're having the dog transported here within a month.
Isn't that so wonderful, right? Like so wonderful. And I think that goes right back to your mission, right? Like
I
so
know.
I've talked to some of these guys, but also I deal with it professionally, right? Not everybody that commits crime. Now there are some, be truthful, right? There are some that don't change, that will never understand, or they'll not understand it. But most of the guys I've talked to on your show or in my profession, they say, I know what I did. I know I effed up. I am wrong. I shouldn't have done this. It's not justifiable. But they are doing things to show that they can be a productive member of society, such as doing the dogs, doing classes, doing parenting classes, doing your show. And I think this pre-deceived notion of, I can't sit here and say I've ever taken a life because I haven't done that. And I don't think you have either, right? Like, so fathoming that in my brain is like, how can somebody do that, right? But sometimes you hear the story, particularly of one person that I'm thinking of that you've dealt with the captain. What is his name?
Uh, Brian,
Brian.
Brian Cole.
Right,
Yeah,
right. And you think of what he went through, which I don't know if I can share his story, but
you can.
he went through some sexual abuse and then
Hmm.
ended up killing the person that abused him because nobody believed him. That's a Cliff Note version, guys, but that's, the generalness of that. And you think about that, and I guess until you're being abused to that level, I guess you don't really think, how could I pull the trigger, right? Because, like, I can't judge him because I've never been in his shoes, if I'm making
Right.
sense. Like, I always think, like, oh, I couldn't kill somebody, but maybe I could if if I was being abused, or somebody held a gun to my head first, or something of that nature.
Well,
Um,
Elliot was when he was trying to get out of the apartment. That guy, the captain, his captain,
yeah.
pulled a knife on him.
Oh,
He
that's
pulled a
right.
knife
That's
and
right.
said you're not leaving, and it was a struggle. And it was, I hate to say it this way, the best man won. I mean, it was a struggle, but the captain pulled a knife. That's
Yeah.
what happened. So unfortunately, should a life been taken? No, but somebody wasn't leaving that night. They got in a
Yeah.
struggle.
And that's like such a shame because, like, now I'm sure he didn't wake up that day saying, "Hey, I want to
No,
kill." Of course not,
no.
right? But now he's serving X amount of years in prison, right? But
16 to life.
yeah, and when I hear him talk, right, like, it's almost like, it's not like Brian Kohlberger.
Right.
Like, they're totally not even in the same realm to me, right? Like, because Brian Kohlberger, I don't know what that man was doing, but that is somebody who deserves prison for life,
Right.
right? And, like, cold-blooded murder, no struggle, no abuse. I don't even he didn't even know the victims as far as we know at
Right.
this point.
Right. You're right.
Like, people like Brian and Keith, and, like, the reasoning for what they did, again, not justifiable, but at least you can wrap your head around the idea. And then not only can you wrap your head around it, they're doing something about it.
Right.
They're not just loafing.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
And we will potentially have them on the show, some of them,
Yeah.
through Marge. We're going to do exactly what we're doing now, but Marge will have them on the line, and they could share their stories, about what in more detail than me and Marge are going through right now. But I just obviously wanted to let you guys meet
Right.
Marge about what that looks like. Um, but okay, Marge, so tell us how you, like, get, I know Keith is your co-host, but does he set you up with these people, and then how do you learn their story, and then how do you, like, sort of continue the relationship? Explain that to me.
Right. So Keith does set me up with mostly all of them, like
Right.
95%. So he'll set me up with them. He'll arrange, he'll give me like their information. Then I will message them because, of course, I can't call them. They have to arrange to call me. I will message them. I won't have them on the show until I speak to them. I feel it out first. And Keith will say, Keith is a pretty good judge of character. He'll tell me who he feels we should have on. I'll talk to them and then we'll go from there. And usually it's a good candidate if Keith says so. There's been some I'll say, Keith, I really don't think I want to do this, and he'll be, oh, fine, let's move on. Um, Brian's story came from Angel from Wiley's Wishes. That's the first one I did without Keith. Keith don't have no idea because they're not in the same prison. He's in
Ah.
Soledad. He's the only one I did without Keith. I said to Keith, here's the information I got through Angel. And Keith works along with Angel, of
Uh-huh.
course, through the dog program. And I said, Keith, you need to look at this guy. I gave him a synopsis. I'm working along with Brian's PI. Never did this before. I'm telling you, Allie, I never got involved with any case. I'm working on this. I'm finding witnesses. I'm looking for the drawers.
Wow.
No, I got in touch with a witness. I
Marge
speak
the detective.
I speak to the PI every other day. I can't let this go. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I gotta help this man. It's like he don't belong there. And I'm not gonna stop. I'm
Yeah.
not. I spoke to a witness for 2 hours like last week.
Wow.
I can't. And the PI's not getting paid anymore. Like he got paid. This man, Mark, he speaks to me every other day. He has helped me. He goes to the courthouse when I need documents. I have every document I need. So I asked Keith to look into it, and Keith, like he did. So mostly everything comes from Keith, and we do it together. Keith has been such a blessing. Right now we're working on this crime and gangs in prison. So we're doing a 3-week special on that. This is week 2. It's going to be Friday night. We actually have Friday night a 9-panel guest joining me that are outside that had already did their time. They're
Okay.
out of prison. They're former lifers. They're going to be on panel. We actually have the co-founder of gangs that were in prison are joining us on
Wow.
Friday night. Yeah,
I'll
they're joining
consider him
us
up.
Friday night. Yeah.
And so what tell us about the special. Are they just explaining about like how gangs form in prison and what that looks like and how to stay away from them? Because obviously you don't
Exactly,
want to
because
be a gang
mostly all of them I talk to, including Keith, and I could be completely, they have nothing to hide. We can always talk about any one of them, how they were when you first go in prison, how you're in gangs, and that's the way you
of
get
course it's how
by.
they
You get
survive.
by being in gangs, but
Only way.
it's the getting away from that, and becoming a better person.
Yeah, and I think like the prison culture, right? And again, a lot of that comes from CV, but I also see it professionally, as do you. You know,
Exactly.
when you get into a prison, especially for the first time, you're like desperate to make friends because you get friends, you get commissary, you get visits, you get all the
Yeah.
things, right? And what's the quickest way to make friends is get into a gang,
Right.
right?
Right.
So they don't know any better. Well, they may know better, but the need for a family because you are removed from your actual
Right.
family
Right.
is so great. And I think that's like another thing. I know this is what we were going to talk about today, but the I've heard many of the men that you've spoken to by watching or being on your panel, the sadness in their voice from not seeing their wives, their daughters, their sons, their parents, their brothers, their sisters. I think that's the part that gets me the most because you have kids, Marge, so do I,
Hmm.
and like knowing that I couldn't go home or see my daughter or my child, in the near future, I don't know how I could wake up and survive that. Like that would be probably the
I
hardest thing.
know.
And you see these men, like they talk to their wives. A lot of them are on your panel or in your chat, and
Yeah.
we've discussed with them. And I just, God bless both of them because that must be the hardest thing. Is like, a lot of people say, "Oh, the food sucks." Yeah, I get that. It's not
Right.
great, but being away from your
Family.
own, right? The trauma in that alone, the PTSD in that alone it's got to be overwhelming.
Yep. So trust me, I don't only get involved and speak to these men, and I hate to say just men, and it's not many women. I told you I have one, but these men in prison. So for instance, Keith, he has a wife. Um, he has a wife. They just celebrated their 3rd anniversary. So what did I do? I send her flowers from him because he can't
Oh,
do it. I send her flowers. Me and Angel from Wiley's Wishes, we send her a bouquet of flowers for that anniversary. We celebrated on my live. We did that. We had
I
him
love
on.
that.
He read her a poem. Involved now with Brian's wife.
Oh, I'm
I'm
sure.
friendly with
Yeah,
his wife and his sister because I need help from them.
sure.
I'm just trying whatever I can. So when you left that night after I had Brian on, I knew you were in a hurry. I like said, go.
Yeah,
You just made his night hearing your voice. Them knowing you give them no matter amount of time, they appreciate you. So after you left, I said to my Lauren Kite, she's like my right hand person. She helps me with everything on my life. Like if it wasn't for her, she even tells me when to breathe because sometimes I get emotional and she'll see me and she'll text me like breathe. And I said to her, should I bring his family up in the boxes? And she's like, do it. I never did that before, Allie, for no one. And I did. I brought his wife, his cousin, his 2 sisters. They came up. If I'll tell you, it's the first time on my live, I couldn't stop crying. I was crying, and the wife was crying. Brian was on the other end. It was such an emotional live, but I had to. I just couldn't let it end without them all talking to each other. And it was just such a great live. I mean, like you said, he has 3 children at home. Three
yeah.
children.
It's and I'm sure he's, obviously he's doing all the things he can do by
Yeah.
being, dad from inside, right? And like that's another thing that we see it here in our local prisons, but they have parenting classes. But it's really hard to be
Yeah.
a dad or a mom from inside because
Right.
how can you parent when you can barely pick up the phone and call, right? Like you have
Right.
slotted times to do these things. And that's also the issue. Marge, I wanted to ask you this question so the viewers know. when they call you, obviously it's a recorded call. I know that. But do they call from like at a certain time from their iPad? Do you have to pay for that? How does that work?
So when they call from their tablets.
Yep.
They have tablets. It's 15 minutes. They have to call back, and it in California you don't pay.
Wow.
So
Okay.
you don't California when COVID started, they stopped with you don't get charged for calls. So, but I don't understand why I have to do it every 15 minutes if you don't pay. I understand. So before it used to be time because you go in the day room, they were using the other phone. So of course they had to so other people can use it. But when
Sure.
they're in their cells using their own tablet, why does it have to be every 15 minutes? You know that recording, it drives you crazy.
Oh yeah, I
When you
know.
hear,
I've heard it.
oh, and when I have, I do three of them at a time. I
Oh,
have
I
them
don't know how
on,
you do it. I don't
and
know how
I'm
you do it.
answering three at a time because, I went out and got another phone number, and then I use my husband's phone, and I only give Keith that number. Like my husband's like, oh, I guess it's Friday night. You have to take my phone. Lucky he don't use it, but I have to use his phone, and I will not trust me. I will not give anyone my husband's number except for Keith. No one else is getting it, but I have my other two phones, so I have three of them going off and collect call from. But it's not a collect call. You don't pay. So
That's great.
the only thing I pay for is messaging them, but it's only a nickel every message. So
Okay.
every
That's
time, but I do message them. Yeah, I do message a lot. Trust me. And I'll tell you what. And another thing I want to just mention, the Brian who we're talking about, Navy, um, the Navy vet, his PI, and I had him looked in. He told me everything about him. This is a man who never had a parking ticket, a speeding ticket, nothing prior to what happened.
yeah, and
Nothing.
so we see that a lot in the sense of right now I actually have a homicide case and I can't talk too much about it because it's an active litigation, but the man has zero prior record score. And you ask yourself, right? Like I told my staff after I interviewed him and signed him as a client, what possessed him, right? It's not like he woke up and said, "Hey, I'm just going to go on a rampage today and kill people," right? Like he only killed one person. But what, like, you always want to know what goes on in their head. Like, it's very hard for me to believe the inherent human nature is not to kill somebody. It's just not. And it's got to be led up by mental illness, abuse, trauma, right? Because I think most people in this world, well, I would like to think most people in this world are good people. And I know by talking to Brian and Keith and Cordell and you and all those guys that I could sit at a dinner table across from these guys and not think twice that they were in jail for on death row. Like I would have no problem. I mean, even right now that they're on death row, I would have no problem meeting them. I'm not scared of them. I talk to them. It's not like Brian Kohlberger. Like I just want the world to know that there's a massive difference between the Brian Kohlbergers of the world and the people we are discussing. Uh, because Brian Kohlberger was an act of brutal murdering for no apparent reason, where these people, some of them, have killed people, but there is also circumstances that led to that. Again, I'm not saying taking a human life is justifiable, but you can at least understand it. Um, so that's also like what I think is significant. But what I was going to say to you is, all right, so he sets them up, you interview them, and then they start going on your live, right?
Right. Yeah, they come on my live and we do, we talk, we interview. A lot of them just after we do that, they go they just go their separate ways. A lot of them we remain friends. There's one young man, he's 34. His name is Manny. He's in the dog program and he has no one. And I have such a soft heart. He has no family, no one. And you know what the girls did on my live? And let's do Manny Mondays. Let's
Oh,
give him something to do. So I go on Favorite It. It's another app.
yeah,
And I go on Favorite It on Monday nights. We do Manny Monday. And we just talk about prison life. It's not a major thing. We just go there and give him something to do. Manny Mondays with Marge. That's what we do.
that's funny.
Just to give him, he has no one to talk to.
Yeah, and honestly, probably talking to his cellmates and his friends in there get boring after a while. I mean, they
Right,
already
right.
know each other. How
Yeah,
much more can they talk about?
exactly. Yep. Yep.
Um, okay, so then they interview you, and now when they come on your live, I know the answer, but for the podcast, when they come on your live, do they tell their story? Do they talk about prison life? Do you let them talk about anything? Do you have parameters? I'm just curious.
They do tell their story, and and they are an open book. I mean, they have no limits. I tell them whatever I tell them whatever they're comfortable with, and they don't have to answer any question they're not comfortable with. Of course, they're on the phone. They're not
Yep.
on video. They're on the phone, and I tell them, and I read comments, and they don't have to answer, and they answer anything. They have no problem. And we also do other things with them. We've been doing educational stuff too with Josh. You
Yes.
met Josh. Yeah,
Hmm.
you met Josh. Josh and John, he's new to us. So we've been doing like ACEs with them, early educational things we've been doing, like people that this stuff comes from when they were younger, like you said, growing up. They all had issues when you hear their stories. So they've been coming on and they've been holding classes, and the feedback and the interaction with my live and the girls, they've been telling me things I never knew.
Wow.
Like, oh my God, I can relate. I can relate over this. I can relate over that. And they said, could we have them back? And I did like 4 shows with them. So yeah, so the guys, they will tell their story, and then we learn more about them, and that they're doing these courses in prison, and then they're teaching us some things.
And Marge, how many of your, I know you have 17 you're in contact with, like as of this moment, but
Right.
how many would you say have divulged to you, or do you suspect have had either addiction or mental health issues before the crime was committed? Just curious if you roughly, like all, half, none.
Oh no, I'll tell you, I would say about 24 of them. Like that came off the top of my head. I mean, the 17 in my phone that I actively talk to. But there's some that I didn't keep in contact
Sure.
after. Some of them I lost contact with. But yeah,
So a majority?
yeah,
Yeah.
a
So
majority.
that's, I feel like, we were talking about the reason you kill
Yeah,
somebody, but a lot of it is mental health, untreated,
that's all. Yep.
my experience, lack of parents or supervision. Yes. And
Oh, yes.
yeah, and mental health because
Mental health, lack of parenting, S8 as children, sexually assaulted as children. So sad. Like so many of them.
yeah, it's a shame.
And I can relate, like Keith. Keith will tell you, like you heard his story a little bit, but
Yeah.
he was young. His mother put the gun in his hand. She drove to his apartment, beat up by her boyfriend, who beat Keith when he was 11 and put him in intensive care with collapsed lungs. And she stayed with him and put her 11-year-old in the street. And, when she got beat up again, she put the gun in his hand. And what did he do? He panicked. He went to the house and he unalived. Well, we say that on TikTok.
Yeah, it's
And
fine.
he murdered her boyfriend for her. But he stood there. He didn't run. He
Yeah.
stood there
Just
and got
go there.
arrested. But this is the kind of, when I hear these stories, I can't believe what these men have been through. Like the childhood.
Yeah, and most of the men that you've talked to, I've gathered, have taken prison as a reform and rehabilitation.
Oh, yep.
Where in like our local county prison, like where they hold you until you're sentenced or it's for its
Right.
minor crime, we have like, and I know I think we talked about this on your live, but we have like no resources, March. Like in our county, like
Right.
in our state we do, but in our county, I mean, you're talking about what you see in a movie, locked in a cell, locked in a unit, staring at the walls, drawing on paper, reading books, like the stuff you tell me about, like, oh, we don't see that here.
Yeah.
But I think that's a shame because the point of prison, I know, is to punish and take away freedom. I get that. I'm not,
Right.
But at the same time, why wouldn't we want to rehabilitate these people and
Right.
make them productive members of society? Because think about how many people you talk to, particularly that look, they've woken up, for lack of a better term. Hey, I'm going to be a better dad. I want to be a better mom. I want to get out of here. I want to do dog training. I think they work in kitchen and laundry and
Yeah, they
all,
do.
all that stuff. I want to do why don't we have that in every prison? Like, my feeling is there should be a reform for the prison system, as in,
Right.
like, instead of just putting somebody in a cage that we all pay for in tax dollars.
You're paying either way.
Exactly, we might as well do something with it, right?
Yep.
Because just and this is why people always say, hey, you put a criminal in a population with more criminals, they just learn how to be better criminals. And that's not true. We're
No.
just not giving them the tools to become a better human. We're just sticking them and saying, figure it out.
Right. Right. Yeah.
And that's sort of like my issue with the prison system. Not that, also, I think it's a money racketeer, but don't get me started there. But that's like my issue. So when I hear these guys saying, I mean, the stuff you told me, written books, dog programs, parenting classes, NA,
Mm-hmm.
AA, I mean, this TikTok lives to share their story,
Yeah.
all those things. Like, we don't have that here, but I'm happy somewhere does, because I think, I mean, you would know better than me, but I feel like that's what made these guys wake up, is like a purpose,
Right.
to
Yeah.
do something.
Yeah. And those, a lot of them will tell you, I'm not ready to leave, or I deserve to be where I am until till I feel I deserve to be out. Like Keith will say, I was so glad I am where I am right now. I needed this. I needed the growth. They'll be the first to admit it. They won't just say, oh, I need to go home. Absolutely not. They absolutely not. They know what they did wrong. Trust me, they're the first to admit what they did wrong. They need it where they are where they belong. They need this growth. They need these classes. And they're helping each other. I'm telling you, they are so supportive, and like I just lost a good friend a couple weeks ago,
Sorry
and
about
I told him I had to cancel. And thank you. I told him I had to cancel. Like, I didn't cancel like the show. I had to like move a couple things. If I'm telling you, word got around, you won't believe the cards they send me, e-cards, because you can send cards. That costs them money. They all send me cards from prison,
how
e-cards,
how
because
sweet.
I don't care how much I know them. I'm not giving nobody my home address.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah.
I live with my daughter. I have an in-law suite with my daughter, my grandson, and all that. No, I don't do that. But they all send me e-cards. Like even a few people in my lives said to me, "Oh, but how much money do they ask you for?" Allie, I could tell you right now. Oh, everybody I met, everybody I interviewed, not one person ever asked me for a penny.
Yeah,
Not one.
they're
They're
not
so
looking
kind to me.
payday.
My
Yeah,
birthday, they send me cards. Like, I show everybody what they said. They send me e-cards. And that's coming out of their pocket.
yeah, from
Yeah.
when they're working at the laundry or the
Yeah.
kitchen or whatever they're doing.
And Corral. Well,
Yeah.
You met Corral. So Corral, he works in the kitchen. He does dishes. He does trays. He don't get paid. He doesn't volunteer because of what he did. He doesn't want the money.
Wow. And,
Yeah.
and that's what I mean. Like, right there alone just tells you he is giving back because he
Yeah.
feels like he has wronged society or himself or his family
Yeah.
or whatever, and he is giving back. He doesn't have to do that. I mean, I'm
No.
sure he could use the money to
Yeah.
talk to his family or whatever. But it's crazy that, the what's the word? The stigma, that's the word,
Right.
around these men. And I just wish that some people could listen to them, and we're going to have them on here because that's the main reason I want them on
Right.
here, is so that
Yeah.
they can hear for themselves through you, and me, of course, about what it's really like being in prison. Like, you and I can hear it, and I go in prison every day as an attorney, but I'm not
Right.
sleeping there, right? So, like,
Right.
the stuff, like, I wanted to ask you, do they tell you, like, have they told you any crazy stories, like, about prison life or anything that shocked you, other than, other things?
No, basically, and they tell me like everything, but trust me, but it hasn't
Hold
been
on, Mark. I
nothing.
got a judge on the line. Hold on one
Oh,
second.
go ahead.
Hey, Judge. Sorry about that.
No.
One of the judges has taken, I have an intern right now, and he has been taking her to his proceedings, like to help me when I'm not in court so she can see more stuff. And he was calling me to let me know that he has a custody trial tomorrow if my intern wanted to go watch him.
Oh, okay. That's neat.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's what that was about. But
Yeah.
so I was asking you about the stories.
The
So
story, yeah. I mean, like the only thing, like nothing really that's like outrageous. I mean, the only problem, like Manny, like he tells, there's, believe it or not, the drug problem in the
oh,
prison.
I'm sure. Yeah,
There was one day there was like 27 overdoses in one day. 27.
that
All
is
right, most of them
insane.
survived, but like he said, I was on the phone with him when you hear the sirens, and I was like, "Oh my God, what's that?" Like I'm not used to this, and he's like, "Marge, it's another overdose," and he was like, "This is like getting ridiculous. It's scary." And they get locked down. Then they lock them down. Then they're stuck in their cells because of whatever, and then they have to search all the cells. But there was like 27 in one day.
That's insane. That then and they can't, once they're locked down, I would assume that they can't do programs or work or
They can't do
they're stuck.
anything. It affects the dog program. Like they let them go out just to take the dogs to the bathroom,
Sure.
but they can't be. And imagine that it makes the dog suffer because the dog's stuck in a cell. They're stuck in this tiny cell, let alone have the dog stuck in there. And then Angel like tries to get the dogs out of there just for a while, and it's really sad that that happens.
Yeah.
And then there was only one time she got in a car accident, Angel. She was in the hospital and one of the dogs got a hold of something in the yard and the dog overdosed. Thank God the dog was okay. She signed herself out of the hospital.
To go
Now
get the dog.
she gets in a major accident. They're calling me because I help with the dog program.
Sure.
So they're contacting me to contact this person. I'm the go between of like the guys
Yeah.
contacting each because they can't contact each other. Or so I'm like getting in touch with this one and I'm live now, mind you.
Oh
I'm live
my.
and I'm trying to contact and I'm a nervous wreck and I'm like, she's really signing herself out. So they did. The dog was okay, but the dog got a hold of something on the ground. So now they really have to be careful. But that's like really it was the drug issue.
Yeah, we see that a lot.
Oh my
It's
God.
in every prison between guards, family members, inmates, whatever. The male, right? That's a huge thing. Is the male.
Yeah.
And a lot of people complain like, "Oh, prisoners shouldn't have tablets or TVs," but it's actually safer than the male
Yeah.
because you can't put drugs through an electronic tablet.
You're
Uh,
right.
you know
Yeah.
what I mean? So
Yeah.
I just think like also they should be able to talk to the outside world.
Yeah.
Do your guys and one female, do they talk to their family a lot as well?
They do. If they have family, they do talk to their family. Yeah, they do.
As much as they can. Now, do any of them get visits?
So they do get visits, some of them. And like with Keith is the only one I know, and there's a Robert. They actually get family visits where people didn't know about this. So Pleasant Valley, I know, has it. So Keith and Robert, they have apartments. People don't know how you get family visits. You get family weekend visits where the prison has apartments eh, on the
Oh, I love
property
this.
prison property. You get a weekend, so you order your food ahead of time where they have to check the food
Yep.
and everything. It gets checked there. The family could go there, the wife, your kids, and you go into the apartment and you have a weekend with your family members
I love that. That
once
is
every
wonderful.
3 to 4 months. But you have to have it's restricted. Like you have to not have been in any trouble. You
Sure.
have to have so much like that you're doing good. So Keith is a straight and narrow.
Yeah, he's not messing around.
He
Yeah.
don't mess around. And now Robert's a new guy. I've been really working with Robert. He's joining me on Friday also. Like I asked him to join the show for the gang of members that we're doing that show. And he's like, Marge, I would be honored to be on your show. Like he's such a sweetheart. We talked about college and prison
Uh huh.
because people are complaining. Why should our tax dollars go towards your college? Well, then our tax dollars will go to them just sitting
Sitting
in
there,
the
yeah, doing nothing.
doing nothing. Let them go to college.
Yeah, well,
Like,
learn.
learn something. And so, yeah, so Robert and it was funny. They got it the same weekend. So both families were next door to each other. So the kids got to play.
Oh, I
The
love
wives were
that.
there. Yeah. Yep.
That's awesome.
So they do get family visits, but they have to earn it. They have to earn it. They just don't give them. So people think, no, they just don't give away family visits. You have to earn them.
Well, and I think that's probably everything
Yeah.
that they do, like the dog program. You can't just
The
walk
dog
in there and
program.
sign
Right.
up for dogs, right? You
Right.
have to
Oh, you have
be,
to earn that also.
yeah.
Yeah.
And uh now does Keith, I know he's like in charge of the dog program. Does
Hmm.
he pick the inmates that can be in the dog program or does they have to apply? Do you know? Just curious.
He makes suggestions.
Okay.
Angel, who is the she runs the dog program. That's her baby. Wiley Wishes. She's on TikTok. I am pushing to help her. Matt has been helping me a lot, making flyers and doing commercials for me. Matt has done a lot with me.
Oh, great.
He shared it out today. Um, so really, Angel goes in these prisons, and I think she put Brian.
Yeah.
Brian is in Soledad. He's in charge of the dog program there. He's a liaison.
Oh, wow, that's great.
Yeah, Brian's helping out a lot with the dog program because he was nervous doing the live because sometimes during the live you can hear the dogs. So he's like, Marge, when I'm live, what if the dog barks? So what? Let them
So what?
bark.
Yeah. They're
Don't
dogs.
worry about that. It's a dog.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, when we were setting up that live, I got introduced to a guy, Tommy,
Mm-hmm.
who's in prison. I didn't have him on yet. He's going to join us the end of the month because he's very busy with his jobs in prison. He works, and he works office work in prison, and he has college. So he's too busy to be on my live till the end of the month. I'm serious. Like,
Well, yeah, I
so
mean, it's like real world, except you're in
yeah.
a building.
So he's going to join us the end of the month, and I told him about Brian, and he took the dog while we did our live. He said, "I'll have the dog." So
Aw.
they help each other. They try to support each other. It's really amazing.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, so before we wrap it up, do you have an idea? And I don't mean to put you on the spot. We can cut this if it doesn't we don't like it. But do you have an idea of who we can get on next? Like a inmate, who you want? You pick. I'm leaving up to you, Marge, because you're the boss lady when it comes to this.
I would really, so of course my heart is like my Keith. Keith is like amazing. I think Keith and Brian would be the two good ones for next, like whichever you want to have. I
Okay.
think it would be good, like, because Keith's story and then like Brian's story is like that one's getting to me. Like the witness I found is not like don't even know Brian. He don't even know Brian. He was a witness for the man that was murdered,
Oh, wow.
but a witness that he abused him too. He abused him
Oh
too.
my
He
gosh.
messed him up too. So he wanted to speak. And guess what? The judge wouldn't allow him because he wanted
Wow.
to protect, he wants to protect and make it look really good.
Well, we all know how certain judges can be. So, okay, so what we'll
So
do
that would be your
is
call. I mean, both. I mean, and then we could move
they
on.
can
We
both
have
come on. I don't care.
Corral.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have Corral, like whoever. But I know, Keith is my co-host. He has another book coming out the end of the month. A really good book. It's the book of his life.
Oh, wow.
And and it's no whole like he tells everything from how he was sexually assaulted by his stepdad and everything. So
Okay,
yeah,
so let me ask you this. So we're gonna set them up. I'm gonna have to set up an attorney call because
right.
if I don't, I think we'll get that stupid recording every 5 minutes.
We will. Yep.
So, can you, when you talk to them next, let me know what days and times so I can adjust my schedule to make sure you can be on like we are right now, and then I
Right.
can call them on my work phone. I'll make the attorney call
Right.
and I'll just have them on the phone right there, and then you'll be like this if that works for
Right.
you.
Yeah. What days work for you? Like what's better for you?
Mostly
Tell me.
Fridays. Mostly
Fridays?
Fridays are the
Okay.
best for me. I don't really care what time. Um,
Um,
I know you do your. I don't want to take away from your show at night, but do they have like? Can they do the morning, the afternoon?
I could ask them. We could work that out. Like the times. It's up to you. If you want to do it at night, I could rearrange it.
No, but also I could do like because
Because
I'm in court.
remember, they're 3 hours. They're
Oh,
three
that's
hours
right.
behind us. Remember that.
Yeah,
Remember, they're
that's
three
right.
hours behind us.
Okay, so if we did them like my time 8 o'clock one night, that's really 5 their time.
Right.
Okay, so we could definitely arrange. Like I'm once court closes at 4:30, I can be flexible. It's just if I have court, obviously it can't be on
Right.
Zoom.
Right. Yeah.
So we can adjust. So do you want to like talk to them and see what days is best, and then I can adjust?
Okay. I know
Um,
Fridays is good. I know Fridays works for them too, most of
okay,
the time. So that'll work.
perfect. So do you want to try next Friday for one of them?
All right. We can do that.
All right, so we can get Keith on first.
Yeah.
All
You want
right,
to try Keith first? All
we'll
right.
try
Let me.
Keith
Yeah.
first, and then just tell him that he'll tell us about his story first, and then I want to know like what got him in prison. I know already, but what
Yeah.
got him in
Yeah.
prison, and then what now? Obviously, he's superstar in there. So what
Mhm.
what has he done, and some stories, maybe some struggles, some good moments. I just want the viewers to understand that he is not an evil murderer and that he is a good person and that he has changed and he recognizes what he did was wrong. And I think that's significant.
Absolutely. And
Um,
Keith is excellent. They're all excellent speakers.
oh, yeah, I've talked
They're
to
all
him. He's
excellent.
great. Hey,
Yeah.
somebody
He's
said they were
great.
going to send stuff to my office, Matt said.
Um, oh, Carell.
Yeah,
I
I didn't
think
get it
Carell,
yet.
because right, he just sent it out. Oh God, I think it was Sunday, but they have to go through it too. You
Oh,
know, the
that's right.
officers have to look at everything.
Okay. All
I'll
right.
check with them.
All right. So let's plan for next Friday. I'll talk to Ralph when we're done here. But thank you for
Oh,
coming
wait a
on today.
minute, Ellie. I
What?
just remembered. I'll check. I don't know if we can. Maybe I can move. I got part 3 of the gang thing is next week.
That's fine. We could do before,
Or
after,
next
or a
Friday.
different day.
All right. Yeah,
Whenever.
maybe we could do it before. Okay, maybe we could do it before and then go right into it.
That's
That
perfect.
works. All
Yeah,
right.
that's great.
Yeah, that'll work. I love it.
All right, that'll be perfect. Thanks for coming on today, Marge.